Did you know that in Denmark, you can't just name your baby whatever you want? That's right. If you live in Denmark and you're expecting, you might need to get your baby name choice officially approved by the government. It sounds a little wild, doesn't it? But there's a fascinating reason behind it all. Denmark has a law called the Law on Personal Names, and its main goal is to protect children from names that could be harmful or embarrassing for them later in life. Think about it, kids can be tough, and a really unusual name might lead to a lifetime of teasing. So, the Danish government stepped in to set some guidelines. Here's how it works. There's a pre-approved list of about 7,000 names, thousands for girls and thousands for boys. If you pick a name from this list, you're good to go. No fuss, no paperwork. Congratulations on your new baby. These names include classics like Sophie and Lucas, but also some more traditional Nordic names you might not have heard of. But what if you want to name your child something unique? Something not on the list? Maybe it's a family name, a name from another culture, or something you just came up with. Well, that's when you have to apply for permission from two separate entities: your local parish and the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs. They'll review your proposed name based on a few key rules. First, the name has to clearly indicate the child's gender, so names that are ambiguous might get rejected. This is why a name like Taylor or Alex could be tricky in Denmark, unless it's already established for a specific gender. Second, you can't use last names as first names, so naming your son Hansen or Jensen is a no-go. This rule is in place to avoid confusion between given names and family names, which is a pretty practical idea when you think about it. And third, the name can't be something that could cause the child problems. This is the big one. It's where the government steps in to prevent names that are just plain bizarre, silly, or could lead to bullying. Every year, about 1 to 100 names are submitted for approval, and around 15 to 20% of them get rejected. So what kind of names actually get banned? Well, let's dive into some of the most famous examples. Someone once tried to name their child Anus. Yes, you heard that right. Unsurprisingly, that was a hard no from the Danish authorities. Can you imagine showing up for your first day of school with that name? The law is definitely doing its job there. Another rejected name was Pluto. While it might sound cute if you're a Disney fan, the government decided it was too associated with a cartoon dog and not suitable for a person. Same goes for Monkey. It seems naming your child after an animal is generally frowned upon. Even brand names are off limits. Someone apparently wanted to name their child IKEA. While we all might appreciate a good flat-pack furniture bargain, it's not exactly a name that screams, "Take me seriously" in a board meeting. That got rejected too. Then there are names that are just creative spellings. In the US and UK, it's common to see names like Ashley spelled in a dozen different ways. In Denmark, they're a bit stricter. The spelling has to make sense and follow Danish phonetic rules. You can't just throw in a random X or a silent Q for fun. The name Jakob with 2 B's was rejected for this very reason. It's seen as unnecessarily complicated. Even some foreign names can be a tough sell if they don't fit the Danish system. A family wanted to name their daughter Camille, a perfectly normal name in many countries. But because the spelling didn't have a clear tradition in Denmark and could be pronounced in different ways, they were initially told to spell it Camille to fit Danish phonetics. They eventually won their case, but it shows how seriously the rules are taken. The law isn't just about what's banned, though. It's also about preserving cultural heritage. Many of the approved names have deep roots in Nordic and Danish history. It's a way of keeping those traditions alive. The list is updated, of course, so new names that become popular and accepted over time can be added. Now, you might be thinking, this is all a bit authoritarian. Shouldn't parents have the ultimate freedom to choose their child's name? It's a valid point, and it's a debate that comes up in Denmark too. Supporters of the law argue that it's a simple, common-sense measure to protect a child's well-being. They see it as a form of social responsibility. A name is with you for life, and a thoughtless choice by your parents can have real negative consequences. On the other hand, critics argue it's an overreach of government power. They believe parents are perfectly capable of making good decisions for their own children, and that the state shouldn't interfere in such a personal family matter. They also point out that what's considered a strange name changes over time. Names that were once considered odd are now mainstream. Interestingly, Denmark isn't the only country with rules like this. Iceland, Portugal, Germany, and Sweden all have their own versions of naming laws. Iceland is particularly famous for its strict rules. All names must be chosen from a pre-approved list and must conform to Icelandic grammar and spelling. If you want to use a new name, it has to be approved by the Icelandic Naming Committee. So, what happens if you break the law in Denmark? Well, you can't just go to the hospital and register your baby as Pluto. The name simply won't be accepted by the authorities responsible for civil registration. You would be forced to choose another name from the approved list or submit a new one for approval. In some cases, parents who refuse to comply could face fines, but it usually doesn't get to that point. Most parents either pick an approved name or successfully argue their case for a new one. Let's look at a few more fun rejections. The name Ashley, spelled Ashleyy, was rejected. The government likely saw this as a confusing and unconventional spelling of Ashley. Another one was Bengt. While this is a traditional name, the specific request was for a girl, and since Bengt is a distinctly male name in Scandinavia, it was denied to avoid gender confusion. The system might sound rigid, but it is evolving. In 2006, the law was relaxed a bit, allowing for more gender-neutral names and giving parents a bit more freedom. For example, the name Laug is now on the list for boys, and Borg has been approved. The authorities are recognizing that society changes and naming trends change with it. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Denmark's naming law is a fascinating example of how a country tries to balance individual freedom with social protection. It's a system designed with the child's best interests at heart, even if it feels a little strange to those of us from countries with an anything goes approach to naming. It forces parents to really think about the impact a name will have on their child's life. Is this name easy to spell and pronounce? Does it carry any negative connotations? Will my child be proud to have this name? These are questions all parents should probably ask, whether they have a government committee looking over their shoulder or not. While you won't be meeting any Danish kids named Monkey, Anus, or Pluto anytime soon, you will find a country full of people with strong, classic, and meaningful names. And maybe, just maybe, a few less headaches in the classroom for substitute teachers. It really makes you wonder, if your country had a list of banned baby names, what names do you think would be on it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this as interesting as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos about the weird and wonderful things happening all around the world. See you in the next one.